But the UK made headlines among the holdouts because they're not thrilled with Vladimir Putin's inclusion. So they are not in as of now. Jonathan Conricus, a retired lieutenant colonel in the Israel Defense Forces, joins us now. Let me just start with a quick question on that. Jonathan, as you know, this was all started to take on Gaza. I know it seems to have a wider ambitions now. But what do you make of the UK's rationale? Says, hey, how are you having a board of peace if Vladimir Putin's involved?
Yes, hello. Thanks for having me on. Again, I think that, it looks as if the situation in Gaza, the war that followed the attack of the 7th of October and everything that happened afterwards, and then the very positive ceasefire that President Trump and his team were able to mediate, it looks as if that was more of a vehicle and a smaller part in a much bigger plan. And the bigger plan looks like there's an ambition, at least, to either replace the UN or to incentivize the UN to overhaul or do a much, much better job at what it is supposed to have been doing, but has failed pretty miserably at doing, and that is promoting peace, preventing war, minimizing suffering, and the UN Charter. And I think what President Trump is doing is a very bold move here. I can understand the UK. From an Israeli perspective, I have issues with countries like Turkey and Qatar being on the Board of Peace because they are Muslim Brotherhood supporters and they are very hostile towards Israel. So many issues. Do you,
even to your point about possibly replacing the UN or challenging the UN, do you like even that as a concept, particularly when you think about the fact that because President Trump has made himself the kind of the chairman of the Board of Peace, right, that theoretically, it seems, unless we're reading this wrong, theoretically he could stay on even after he's left office as president of the United States?
Yeah, it's definitely a very creative and disruptive idea that has been presented here, that presents a lot of new dilemmas and opportunities. And I think that a lot of democracies around the world and, U.S. allies are hesitant to become part of it because many still believe and many want the world order of international organizations headed by the UN to be preserved.
Right.
And myself included, I think the UN in general is failing at its core and doing an abysmal job. As an Israeli, I am, very disappointed with the work of the UN across all different sections of UN work, whether it's UN programs, UN peacekeeping, UN special rapporteurs. The fact that you can have a rabid anti-Semite like Francesca Albanese appointed and still in the job really taints the symbol and the legitimacy of that organization. The so-called UN human rights in Geneva is an affront to anything that is related to human rights because there are authoritarian regimes like Iran and China and Russia that govern that council. So there are many, many wrong things, but I don't think that, that there's definitely need for a deep and very serious gut renovation of the UN.
But maybe not an elimination. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you one specific question about Gaza. The president said at that event today has been clear Hamas must return the remaining deceased hostage, and he talked about disarming Hamas. How do you think things are going? Are you confident at all, or what's your level of confidence here as the peace process continues face to face?
Yeah, I'll put it bluntly and shortly. The way things are going, there will be another war between Gaza and Israel in the not very distant future. And I say that with tremendous sadness because that isn't what I want for Israelis and it's not what I want for the Arabs who live in Gaza. But if Hamas isn't disarmed and isn't dissolved as a political organization in power of Gaza, we're going to have trouble. They are a jihadi organization that wants to wipe out Israel. That's what they tried to do on October 7. That is what they have said that they will do again and again until they're successful. Yeah. And as long as they exist, there will be fighting.
Yeah. Well, we hope you're wrong. I know you hope you're wrong, but that's the way the world works. Jonathan, thank you as always, Jonathan Conricus. Listen.